It is already. Okay. So hello everyone. So we have about 3 minutes to start. So we would wait for our guests to join in on the call. So our guest will be joining us in about a minute. So let's wait for him to join us. I'll be launching out very very soon. Honest. Hello. Honest, are you there?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon. Hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Good afternoon, bro. How you doing?
Good afternoon. Fine.
Awesome.
Thank you. Hope
Awesome.
my audio.
Yeah, it's fine. I just pray that network operates with us.
Yeah, I pray so too. Are
Because
you also streaming these on Facebook? So
y-
let me see if I can
yes, so that you
quickly
can share it.
share.
Yeah, it's streaming
Uh,
live right now on
um,
Facebook, and it's also streaming on YouTube.
um, okay, that's fine. That's fantastic. Thank you very much for having pleasure.
As in, I mean,
Um,
I was just thinking about the opportunities we've actually lost in life, as a result of probably
yeah,
relaxing, believing that there is nothing really big out there for us. And I mean, um, we are, we could say we are privileged to be able to be where we are despite where we're coming from. But the reality
yes,
also is that a lot of people have the similar opportunity, but similar chances at success, but probably they are just relaxed, not taking advantage of what is possible. So, and that is the main reason I felt we should have this, because there are a lot of people. They are somewhere, they are doing fine. It's not as if they are not doing okay, but they could do better. There is always that chance to get better, and sometimes it's as a result of them realize that it's actually possible, and that is why I felt we should have this. Okay, so I mean,
yeah.
I won't want to waste your time because I know you are a very busy person. I mean, even even you agreeing to do this is a privilege. So I won't want to waste your time. At the same time, I won't want to waste those who
Yeah.
are listening to us. I want this whole stuff done within the next 1 hour maximum.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's fine.
yeah.
That's fine.
Okay.
And I'm really very, very happy to
Yeah,
do this.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, I consider these are some of the things that actually make me happy. I feel it's become important for us to start sharing our stories,
yeah.
and maybe it's possible to inspire someone to action. Because I believe, like you said earlier, all of us can actually become better.
Yeah,
Okay. The only reason why we are probably not where we want to be is because we are not trying. But then the only thing that is impossible is something that has never been attempted.
exactly.
Once you attempt or try, there is no telling what you would get at the end of it. Yes.
Exactly.
So I'm really very happy. So let's do this.
Thank you. Thank you, bro. So, now let's start. So who is the current um honest offer that I know that I mean every other person know. So can you just tell us about? I mean, I'm not asking you about where you're coming from. Majorly, who is the current honest offer that I'm talking to today?
Okay, thank you very much. The honest of what you're talking to today is the husband of one wife, Lady Chinonyerum Zara. Currently work as a senior program officer with Prisoners Rehabilitation and Welfare Action. Our job majorly is to promote human rights and also to promote access to justice to those who may not ordinarily, be able to afford representation of lawyers on their own. So we provide pro bono and legal services to those indigent persons who don't have access to justice. we also ensure that institutions talking about to work effectively and are able to discharge on their mandate. So basically, we are a human rights organization, and we try as much as possible to see how we can ensure that institutions are able to discharge on their mandate.
Oh, network there.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes. So, I mean, it's kind of it broke.
Should I come again? Maybe again.
It broke at one point. Yeah. So I think the last stage we aired was you kind of telling us about about power,
The work
and
we do.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, maybe because of network, maybe
Yeah,
I'll have to recap.
yeah,
I
please.
work as a senior program officer in Prawa. Part of the work we do is to support agencies of government, especially in the security and justice sector.
Yeah.
Yeah, we provide support to security institutions to work effectively. So you see us either working with the correctional service to ensure that inmates in the correctional service are well protected, to ensure that those of them who don't have access to lawyers can have access to lawyers, to ensure that there is rehabilitation for offenders, and to ensure that once they are coming back into society, they are well trained, well empowered to be able to lead normal lives. We work also with the Nigerian police force to ensure that they comply with human rights standards and human rights laws, and to ensure that there is an end to police brutality and the issues around torture, of persons in police detention or other place of detention is completely removed. We also work to ensure that the capacities of security agencies are built such that they are able to do their work in line with human rights standards. We also ensure that basically agencies of government are able to, work effectively and to deliver on their mandate. So basically everything around human rights compliance, everything around social justice, rehabilitation, and all of that is part of what we do in Trawa.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. So, I mean, I I heard a lot of advocacies, fighting for human rights and all of that from what you said. So, now could you tell us if there was any direct connection between the current honest of all and probably your past, probably what you're doing now has been a direct connection between what you've always wanted to do from a very young age.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, okay, I would say there is really no direct connection between my current job and then my course of study, if I would take it from there. First of all,
Okay.
I wanted to be a medical doctor because I felt that in my time and even till now, anybody who is intelligent has to read medicine. So, because I was considered intelligent at my time, my parents encouraged me to go for medicine. We tried medicine, it didn't work, and I said, okay, let's try engineering. We tried elect, it didn't work. Then I now enrolled to do a basic education there in Uniport for 1 year, and then after that, I was given geology to study. So I studied geology. So you could see that geology is far removed. Geology is a science course. And
Yeah.
then what I am doing
Physical
presently today is
sciences.
basically exactly what I'm physical sciences, earth sciences. What I'm doing today is basically law and social
Yeah.
science related. So there's really no
Yeah.
correlation between what I read and what I am doing now. But I would also say that in terms of passion, over the years where I've always had it, even while I was in school studying geology. I know that I've always had passion for this kind of thing that I am doing. Those of them who study with me in the University of Port Harcourt will attest to the fact that I used to be a I was a very I participate in politics a lot. I write. I try to fight for the rights of citizens, the rights of students at that time. I remember a particular course we wrote that should be Chem 235. It was taught by late Professor Ozuluku then. And the man came into class one day and decided to give people a test. And the people wrote the test. It were not up to 10% of the persons in the class that wrote the test. And then the man said he was going to go ahead. I was livid with anger. I wrote all sorts of letters from the dean to the VC to every year I was fighting. I said it was not going to happen. So there's always been this silent passion for the rights of people, the rights of the down. I me or drawing me along the line of my passion. Although I won't say that I acquired the knowledge for it, but the passion has always been there. The passion for what I am doing has always been there. But in terms of my education, there is absolutely no connection whatsoever with what I am doing now and then the course I studied in school.
Okay, so now I'm sure that at the point where I mean, from what you said, you were given geology, not that you applied to study geology, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so so at the point where you were giving geology, did it occur to you that, oh no, this is not really what I wanted? I would just let the admission go and probably go back and start again, or did you at any point just think about it that, okay, being a geologist is not bad? I would just, after my study, I would become a geologist, or I mean, I'm painting three different scenarios now. Or did you just say, okay, I'm going to study this, I would graduate and probably find my path after this, you know? So which one did you fall in?
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, I mean, the first thing that happened when I was giving geology, because like I said earlier, I was giving geology, not like it was
As
what I wanted to study.
exactly.
I wanted to study at that time elect. So for you to study elect, you must score 55 in physics, mathematics, biology, and chemistry. Okay, in those four subjects.
Okay.
Now, unfortunately or fortunately, my overall score in basic then was 78. That's cumulatively was, I think one was cumulatively was 74 or 72
Okay.
cumulatively. But what happened was that I got 83 in chemistry, 83 in chemistry, I think 86 in English, either 78 in it's something in biology. Then only in physics I scored 52, 50% short of 55 in physics.
Mm,
They now posted me to geology. Okay, because they felt I didn't get up to that particular score. So the first thing that happened to me was that when I saw geology, I was like, so if I study geology now, what will happen? I started asking questions. They say, ah, if you study geology, you can work in an oil company. I mean, geologists are people who work in the oil company. They work, you can work in Shell, you can work in Chevron, you can work in Agip, and all of those things. So at that
mm,
time, my focus was how to be able to study economics so that when I graduate, I could now begin to work in a company where I can earn good money,
mm,
and then at the end of the day, I can take care of myself. So the focus then was finish school, get a job, finish school, get a job. But then this is where we must begin to emphasize on the need of mentorship. Okay. Now, if I had a very good mentor, okay, who understood my innate talents and abilities, the person will know from day one that I have absolutely no business being in a science class, talk more of being
mm,
in an engineering class. There was really no reason for me to do that. But the only thing I knew then was that for you to get a good job, you need to go to school and graduate very well.
yes,
Okay. So that is what one thing
exactly.
to do that actually drives me. Whatever I want to do, whether it was given to me or accepted, I try to put in my best. So even when I was studying geology, although it's really not something I know I have passion for, I try my best
Yeah.
because that has always been my philosophy in life. That whatever you find to do, just try and do it diligently. Okay. So I tried to study well and
Doing
also
very well.
graduated well with the hope that when I graduate, I would be able to find a job in the oil company. And of course, I graduated well with the 2-1, the good CGP, and then we started struggling and looking for oil company work. And of course,
For
it did
job.
not come. And yes, and the truth of the matter is that even if I was in an oil and gas company, I will not be happy on the job, but I will not be happy on the job because what I'll be doing will not be my passion. My mind will still be somewhere else, although I will be
Mm.
getting paid well. Okay. So that is what one thing to do that actually drives me.
Or at best you become a union, union fighter.
Exactly. I become a union. Exactly. I become a union leader. In fact, there is something. There was something I stumbled on. There was something I stumbled on too.
Okay.
Um, in 20, while I was doing my youth service in Uyo, after my NYSC, I got a job in an engineering company. They are into fixing things. If I see a rod, for instance, an iron, if the iron is straight, I can't tell whether it is straight or whether it is bent. But this my boss is very good at it. He's passionate. When he sees the minute details, I can't see it. But if you give me a paper now, you give me a writing, and then you tell me to proofread or to edit it, within 1 minute, I'll be able to tell you all of the grammatical errors, mistakes that are in the job and the rest of them. So it was a problem. So I worked on that job for 1 year. Okay. I worked on it for 1 year. And just to mention that when I came in, he said he was going to pay me a particular amount. After 1 month, he decided to increase the money by 100%. Because according to him, he said that his conscience will not allow him to pay me less because he sees what I'm giving him. But 1 year after, I was frustrated at the job. So this morning, I was just looking through my mail and I saw the resignation letter I sent to him 1 year after I resigned. Okay. And I told him, boss, this thing will not work. I probably would just read a section of that particular mail because it was very funny. But then it goes to tell the kind of mindset I have with the job I do. I'll just read some section of that particular letter. I told him,
Awesome.
I said, okay, I said, how are you enjoying your vacation? Mine has been less exciting because of e-health, but I'm recuperating very well. And I said, I believe very strongly that the coming year will be great for us as an organization. I'm even more convinced that with the courses you are doing, we will do better.
Sorry, go ahead. I need to change the location of my
But
network.
I've painfully decided to resign and explore new opportunities in the coming year. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me? Okay, so I said, this is one of the hardest decisions I've ever had to make in all my life because home fair has become a part of my life in the last 1 year, a part that I will always treasure because of the positive lessons I've got from it. But when I took this job, I promised myself that I will work very hard to add to the company and also assist in easing your heavy workload. Much as I would like to think that I've lived up to my side of the bargain, deep down, I sincerely know that I suck at the job. I wouldn't want to make excuses for my flaws and mistakes. I take responsibility for them and commit myself to making amends. I know the kind of job I'll be great at, the type that will unleash my innate talents and gifts, just like you are using yours. But unfortunately, it is not this job. I appreciate the opportunity to have worked for you and learn from you. I believe Home Fair that's the name of the organization, deserves a better manager with strong technical ability. And I am convinced that the path on which I am on presently is not one that will ultimately lead me to fulfilling my destiny. I therefore make this painful decision with the best of intention to my happiness and the common good of both of us. I know that if I stay here too long, I will not be able to sustain it. So I decided to resign. 1 year after I job, I already knew that okay, the man increased my salary like I was now he was enjoying it. But I didn't have the technical ability to do this work. I mean, no matter how hard I tried to push myself, the harder I tried, the more I failed at the job. And then my mind was somewhere else because I know that there is a job that I can do, like the one I am currently doing, where I have the natural skills and ability to be able to do that. And I know that if I stay here too long, I will not be able to sustain it. So I decided to resign. Yes, so that's just to underscore the fact that even regardless of where you find yourself, you can always trace yourself back to
Back.
your calling,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
To that which is your passion, okay?
Yeah.
Whether you read a course that you think this is not a course you should have read, you can always start afresh. You can always make a new beginning. You can always retrace your step back to where you want to be, and
Yeah.
then from there you go along.
Yeah. In fact, that resonates with me a lot. I mean, I love the fact that you even actually read that letter because I remembered I had to, to keep soul and to keep body and soul together. I did teaching, and why there? When it was easy for others to just say, if you apply for this ministry, if you go by this, you go. Like, personally, within me, I knew that this is not what I want. And sometimes it seems like pride. It seems like pride,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
know. It seems like arrogance, especially when you know what you want. I tell people, keep declaring it and keep making steps towards it. And I mean,
Exactly.
it's not really about me. So maybe when I have the opportunity to be invited to any other person's podcast, I'll be able to say some things about my own story. It's really about you. So I mean, I love that. I love that bold step. And you were not scared to understand that there is a place out there for you, even though you are not there. You don't even have the evidence yet, but you just
Exactly.
know
I
that
mean,
where you
yeah,
were is
it,
not where
it,
you really want to be.
it, exactly. Most times in life, when we hold on to a particular thing, once something is in your hand and you're holding strongly to it, your hand is not open to receive other
Mm,
things.
mm,
At the time when I wrote this letter, I didn't have any job to do.
mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't have any job to do.
See.
And then I know it took me like three months or 4 months before I could find something else.
Wow.
So I left Uyo and then went to Worry before I now got another opportunity to work in yet another engineering firm. Okay. And then you could see that I moved from one to another. But at every point in time, I knew that what I wanted is not where I was. And at
Mm,
every point in time, I just tell myself, even if you are here, you are preparing yourself. I would like to say that one of the cheat codes, and I'll call it cheat code, that has been highly underrated in life is preparation.
yeah.
Wherever you find
To be
yourself is
frank,
actually a preparation ground for you.
ground.
You must be able to sit down and prepare yourself for where
Exactly.
you are going to. So
Exactly.
whether where you are now is not where you want to be, you use it as a springboard to prepare yourself to where you want to be, to learn all that you can.
Mm-hmm.
One skill that will never be obsolete in life can be obsolete. Whether you are learning this used to be one of the best is it programming language. I don't know much of those things. Okay,
Okay.
in those days people you do Oracle, do this certification, do this and do that. And today all of those things are gone.
Yeah.
Those skills are becoming absolute in life is the ability to learn new skills,
Mm,
your ability to evolve, your ability to reinvent yourself.
mm,
So all of us, we must all be lifelong learners. As long as you are willing to learn, you will never be relevant in life. So
exactly.
as long as you to learn. And learning is preparing yourself for the opportunity that comes. But when the opportunity comes, like I'm going to tell us, probably share my story in terms of when I got this job that I'm currently doing.
Yeah.
When the
We're
opportunity
getting there.
came, if I was looking able to prepare yourself where you are currently, prepare yourself for where you are going to where you are.
Exactly.
Where you are today, prepare yourself where you are today for where you are
We're
going to
going to.
tomorrow. Because it is your preparation today that will be the staircase that will lead you, the ladder you need to be able to lead you to where you are going to go to. So some people will say, okay, when I get there tomorrow, I will learn.
That
No,
no
the
no no.
best time to
It
learn
doesn't
is
work
today. Just learn today. The tomorrow you are looking for may never come.
at all.
One of the reasons probably why you have not gotten what you're looking for today is because you've not learned or you've not prepared yourself. So if
Exactly.
you prepare yourself today, then you can be able to attract what you want in life. And that's why even the Bible says it seest thou a man diligent in his business,
Yeah.
he will not stand before mean men, he will stand before kings. So if you want to attract the recognition of kings or the recognition of people who are up there, you must be able to prepare yourself and then do something. In the process of doing something, you'll be able to attract the attention of those who can help you to your next level.
Exactly. So I mean, I likened it to something I thought about recently, and I made a post about it. The truth is, many people pray for open doors, but I mean, I try as much as possible not to be so religious, right? I understand that there are doors, but it's very difficult to actually see open door, because every door
Mm,
leads somewhere, right? And if
exactly.
if I
Exactly.
if a door leads to my house and I have treasures within that house, no matter how you pray for that door to be open, I am the owner of the treasures within behind the doors, so I will surely lock the door. So I will not just leave it open, right? I'll not leave it open. So
Exactly.
what gives you access to my door is the fact that you have what I need.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's what most people don't know. So it's that preparation that will help me to open door for you. You can't just have God gives us doors, God presents doors to us, but most times people don't gain access because they are not prepared.
Yeah, I mean, the same persons who tell you I don't like you, I don't like sounding religious, but even for those who have been religious, when Jesus gave people talents, one went and buried his own talent instead of, and he was angry. Why was he angry? I gave you something. They didn't have given to you. You're supposed to use it to serve others. You're supposed to build. Everybody in life is looking for somebody that will make their life easy. People are looking for solutions.
Exactly.
You can only be rewarded for the solution you create. You
Exactly.
can only be rewarded for the problem. So how ants are able to locate the sugar, regardless of where you put the sugar. Once you bring a sugar out and you drop it anywhere, you can look around, you won't see any ant, but drop a sugar somewhere in the next 5 minutes or even 2 minutes, you see all these ants will start gathering. Why? Because there is value. People to recognize you, if you want to be seen, if you want people to actually, value you, you must be able to bring something to the table. Gone are the days when you are not bringing anything to the table. And the only way you can bring something to the table is when you increase your capacity,
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, I know
your
if I
ability to
permit
solve
you,
problems.
you be on and on preparation is a topic we are very passionate about. So I will quickly I want to ask you, how then did you transition into the development sector, considering your background in geology, considering how you even worked in engineering sector? Because I know that what obviously then will be on your CV uh I mean engineering experience. So but how were you able to now easily transfer into development sector without the experience I mean so to say required?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting question, and I mean, I have an interesting story to actually tell. During my NYSC, and that's to tell you what passion is about. During my NYSC, I used my 1 year to do something. I looked around and I asked myself, what is it that I would want to do that could add value to those around me? And then I thought about it was such that it cannot support the kind of nation or the kind of state we want to build. And I started thinking about value change, attitudinal orientation, and ethics. So I came up with a program where I went to secondary schools with friends. I would spend my what they call monthly stipend that is paid by NYC to buy books. I'll buy books, buy white marker boards, and then produce monthly newsletters that I give out to students. And I will go once every week, sometimes twice a week, or sometimes depending on the time. And then we can change the country and the rest of them. What I was doing at that time is part of what I now do today on a professional level. Okay. Now you have donors who give you money to carry out seminars, to carry out trainings, to go to schools, to talk to people. At that time, 11 paying me. I didn't even know that you could actually write a proposal to do something like this. I didn't know it's possible for you to actually carry out a seminar on something like this and then write reports. But this was something I was not as nothing. So how was I able to transit? The transition came from because I knew what I wanted. I started preparing myself for it. And the preparation came in the form of wherever I found myself. Okay. I started asking myself to be able to this industry. I understood that advocacy is very important. So I needed to learn one or two things about advocacy. I knew that I needed to learn something about monitoring and evaluation. I knew that I needed to learn something about gender. I knew that I needed to learn something about the security sector and the rest of them. So I started doing some online courses here and there, took certifications, and continued in the job that I was doing. Okay. But then I knew that for me to actually is when you are presenting it, to present it in such a way that people will understand. Because I may not have worked for a well-known NGO or for a development agency, but the 1 year I spent doing all of those work with all the evidence I have to have done that work in your CV to say, okay, in this time, I was a program officer for values, ethics, and attitudinal reorientation program in Uyo between so time and this.
mm,
And I was able to, if you look at my CV, you see I was able to train 1,000 students in this.
mm,
It acted as part of my resume and my experience. But
mm.
that in itself is not even what actually brought that opportunity. I know there was a time I talked about the ability to know how to use networks very well. There was a particular program we held somewhere in Kefi, and I know you were part of that program. And then
We're
someone
there.
came. Yeah. So when the person in question came, who is today is now my executive director,
Yeah,
and I knew that, oh, she owns an NGO. And I was like, wow, this is where I really wanted to work.
to work.
But how do I got her number and I asked myself, how do I go about, approaching this person? And, most times when you have access to people, you must be able to learn how to manage relationships so that
Yeah.
what you ask have access to, what you ask them is, Oga, please, I need money. Can you give me money? At that time, I could have asked for anything, but I did not. And I was asking myself, what is it that I could do? Attention. Used to see call for application and I was sent to her. So when I sent call to application to her, she looked at it, she was like, applied for it and sent her. She was like, I didn't see your name here. You are not telling me what you want. So what do you want from this? I said, no problem. Let it go. If they accept the proposal, and all I just want is and allow me to implement the project together with your organization. You've been doing this on and off, and I know the time you put into this. Tell me what you want. And I said, don't worry, let it just go. When the program comes in or when the project is approved, and I'll work together with you. And the one day she calls up and said, and she made it. There is this video series that I normally do on Facebook where I share my ideas and thoughts on politics, on life, on career, on different things. And she was like, there's a program we have and we need the skill. I think this is really very important. Can you send me your CV? And then I looked at my CV and then I said, okay, what are some of the skills that can align with this job?
Exactly.
I looked at what I did in NYSC. I looked at what I did in terms of even under aligned somehow with the job, and I sent to her. And it was because of what she saw me doing already that was preparing me for the job. And then before that time, I had already applied to read a master's, okay, to do a master's.
Mm,
And I remember that when my mentor then told me, and I refused, I told him no. I don't want to do a master's in this discipline because I know what I was trying to get at. And if I do this, it will be reinforcing the same mistake I made in my first degree.
mm,
The geology I read was a mistake. Now I want to do a master's. I want to align with what I would want.
mm.
He didn't buy the idea, but I went ahead and I bought the form and then I filled in the course I wanted. So can you believe that when I submitted my CV, they said, okay, because it was supposed to be for a project that was being sponsored by European Union. So when they looked at the CV, they said, no, that this person doesn't have the capacity for this job, although he has some experience, but it's not enough. Then my madam quickly asked me, you are doing a master? I said, yes. He said, on what? I said, conflict, security, and diplomacy. Yeah. He said, but the alliance with the I said, yes. He said, okay, can you please do another CV, add your masters, and add the current courses you are doing in this masters and allow for it. I did that immediately. And 5 minutes later, I got a message to say, this CV is approved. The person can sit on this job. And that was it. So one thing is, yes, you may have read a course you didn't want to read, or you're currently on a path you didn't want to do. But once you know where you want to get to, try to find ways to begin to do things, learn, look for certifications, look for jobs you can do, short-term jobs, volunteer jobs, internship positions that can align you or put you in a good state to be able to get to where you want to get to. Okay, so there is really no need reinforcing a mistake. You've made a mistake before. Or probably it's even not a mistake. You were given the course like mine. I was just given the course to go and study. I studied it. And then I asked myself, what really do I want to do? And then you begin to align yourself. And then you find a way as much as possible to prepare yourself and then look for courses you can do. And that's the good thing about, technology today. Everything you want to learn in life today is available at the click of the finger. The phone you have today, or the phone all of us have today, is a huge resource. You can is a limitless. You can learn anything you want to learn, anything you want to learn. Some of them are free, some of them are not so free, but as much as possible, acquire knowledge as much as
What's
possible.
impossible?
The knowledge that will put you in a good position to get to where you want to go to.
Wow, wow, wow. So, I mean, there are a lot of things you said, and I'm just smiling because I could connect. I'm first. I'd like to say that I think we have to probably write a book together, So because I could
I would like that. Yeah.
I could connect a lot of similarities with our stories, right? Uh, I remembered. I mean, the first masters, after my first degree was industrial mathematics, the first masters I was doing was in mathematics. And I remembered every time I go to the class, because typical of my undergraduate degrees also, is that when I go to class, I'll see a professor teaching you mathematics. And, you know, going through his notes to write every word he has to say, everything he has to write on the board. He will go to his note, check and write. And I sat down and I thought about it, that this is not this is not what I intend to become. Like, I don't want to study a course that I mean, I find it difficult to even repeat the same thing. I find it difficult to let people know that this is, and I stopped the program. I had made some payments, but I never cared.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My mentors at that time could not understand what's wrong with this guy, you know. But right from that period, I've been reading about NGO. I've got to understand about M&E, and I realized that there's something about MIE that aligns with my experience, so I was not just okay. I was not just okay, and I ended up, starting my own company. Now, while I was, and that also relates to the idea of what you did during your NYC. Okay, so
Yeah,
now you were directing your CV to reflect that experience, and you were
exactly.
writing the experience like you are a staff of an organization there, right?
Exactly.
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 So
Exactly.
so if you go to my CV, you will never see something like CEO of Chrisarchopedia. So depending
Mm,
on the job I'm applying for, if it's MIE, then I was MIE of Chrisarchopedia.
exactly.
So you will never
Exactly.
ask. So,
Exactly.
and if you're asking me for experience, because I was reading, I remembered I did three different courses with University of Washington. Three different courses. I was not working, but
Mhm.
yet I was carrying my money to do those courses, you know doing those courses. And do you know that the two jobs I have done within the,
Exactly.
I mean, consecutively within the NGO, I mean, development sector, were from that
Yeah.
certificate.
Exactly. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
people don't just understand that while you are waiting, that's a period of preparation. I mean, I have some other questions that I would
Exactly.
like to ask. So, what do you think? What could you attribute to your success so far, within the development sector? Because to be frank, I get inspired by reading your story, because I know we were together in Kefi. We were together in Kefi, for that program you were talking about. That should be
Yeah. 2019.
2019. Yes.
2019.
So
Yeah.
just between 2019, I mean, we could actually say we were unemployed then, because we were just kind of supporting,
Exactly.
supporting.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
between
Yeah. Yeah.
2019 and 2023, that's just within 4 years. The the
Yeah.
growth, I mean, your growth was too rapid, too rapid. You've gone to Geneva, you've gone to London, you've been on several platforms, and I'm like, so what could you attribute your success within these few years within the development sector to?
Okay. Thank you very much. Yeah. I mean, I would say the same thing. When I look back and I just realized that this month is makes it just almost exactly 3 years
Mm,
that I've been on this job. Okay,
mm,
and within those 3 years, I could say that, yeah, a lot of persons will not believe that I've just been 3 years on the job,
mm,
and in the sector. A lot of them would think I've done this all my life. And of course, probably that could be attributed to how I was preparing myself before now.
Mm.
But I would say that if there is anything I would say is the reason behind my, let me even call it modest, because as far as I am concerned, I want to actually be, I want to be doing better than I am doing. Okay. So I would say the modest effort, the modest achievements I've recorded is because in life, early on, one of my lifelong or my lifelong motto in life is to give more than I am asked to
Mm.
do,
Mm.
to
Mm.
go the extra mile. If you ask me to do one, I won't stop at doing one. I'll do two, I'll
Mm.
do three.
Mm.
If you give me something to do, I'll make sure I do it in such a way that you would come back to ask, honest, why are you doing this as if your life depended on it?
Mm.
So I'll give you an instance. When I was brought into my organization, the word around was that they employed a consultant to come and do a work.
Mm.
Okay. Because they saw the kind of passion I brought into the job
Mm.
and the way I was going about it as if my life depended on it.
Mm.
So if you give me a work to do, and that's one way I used to measure whether I am still satisfied on the to do. Know that my mind is on the job. If I'm not giving more than I'm asked to do, know that that my passion is beginning to wane.
Yeah.
So coming into the job, I decided from the beginning that I'm going to do more than I'm going to go the extra mile, extra hours. I put in the extra time.
Mm.
How my life depend on it. And then it also helped that this is something I've always wanted to do all of my life. And then I was coming from somewhere where I was practically jobless. And then I've gotten the opportunity of a lifetime to do something for myself. And
Mm.
I saw that job as a life and death. And then I give everything to it.
Mm.
So it wasn't long until they discovered that okay, this person is really passionate about this, and this person really wants to work.
Mm.
And then one thing about work is that the reward for work is more work.
Yeah.
And then as I was doing one more work, and then another thing is that as I was doing all of this work, I didn't even know that probably there could be incentives that will come with the work. And then when we finish the work, they'll say, okay, there's a particular conference in there to attend.
Mm.
And since you are the one that worked on the project, you have to go and represent us.
Yeah.
And that's how I was doing the work with the mindset of getting rewarded for it. The salary for me was okay, but I didn't know there were other things added to it.
Mm.
So that is why in this life, anything you are doing and then you put in your best, you understand that the reward can, and I was saying it somewhere, life is true service. If you are able to serve, if you want to stand in life, stand out. That's the only way you can be outstanding. If you are outstanding, you have to, and then when you stand up, people will recognize you. So I think the only thing I can say that has been this to give it the extra effort, the extra whatever that I put in on the job, it gets recognized, and then somehow it gets rewarded. So
Mm.
for persons who do not want to do the work, there are people who run away from assignments. You want to
Mm.
give a task and say, who wants to do
Mm. No.
comfortable from when I get into a room and you don't recognize me, it won't work. You have to, when I'm in a room, you need to know that I am there. You need to know that there's something that can be done. So if there is any assignment or there is anybody to volunteer, you would always see me as the first person who raise up his hand to say, why continue to volunteer to do more work, as I continue to put in more effort,
Mm.
I realized that my capacity continued to,
Yes.
I
Yes.
was learning more.
Yeah.
The more I learned, the more my capacity increased. The more my capacity increased, the more these people said that, okay, this guy can actually represent us where
Mm.
opening doors for me on my own, even outside my organization to say, okay, this person was here. And it has happened a couple of times. I've been on conferences and people are like, oh, can I have your number? And then they collect my number. And afterwards, they'll say, please, I heard what you said the other time. And I love how you spoke. Please, can you come and speak in our event? Can you develop for this for us or this and that? And just by doing my work well and by going in the extra mile, it keeps opening door for me.
Mm.
So it's one advice I'll give to everybody. If you want to go up in life, you must ensure you go the extra mile. It may cost you more, but in the long run, you are building capacity.
Mm.
For those of us who sometimes say, I will give less because you are being paid less, you are
Mm.
shortchanging yourself.
Yeah.
I could have well
True.
stayed on that first job and said,
True.
since the man is paying me, why am I even bothering myself?
True.
There's no need. What are you? You are selling yourself short.
True.
So for every time you are not giving your best, thinking that you are trying to shortchange the company, you are not shortchanging the company. I have something I tell myself most times. I said, if I don't give my best, I am shortchanging myself. So for anywhere I am that I'm not able to give myself, what I want to do is I want to move from there to go somewhere where I can give myself my best. Because by giving my best, I am learning, I am building capacity, I'm opening more doors for myself. And that is the only way to grow. The only way to grow is take on as many tasks as possible. I'm not saying go and overburden yourself, but I'm saying don't run away from assignment. Don't run away from work, because the reward of hard work is more work. And the more you work, the more you build capacity. The more you build capacity, the more you are enhancing your value. And the more value you create, the more you are recognized and the more you get rewarded for it. So nothing good comes easy, but then it comes from putting in the time,
Yeah.
putting in the effort.
Yeah.
And then in the long run, you'll be the one to enjoy it. Yeah.
Wow, so that was beautiful. So first, let me quickly let you know that we are going to repeat this in a better way. We're going to have it physically, so it will either be in your place or my studio here. So I mean, one has to happen. We are going to surely repeat this, but it will be physically. So we will talk physically like
Yeah.
this, so that to prevent some of these network issues that we are having. So please
Exactly.
look forward to
Exactly.
that. Look forward to that. Okay.
No problem.
Yeah.
No
So
problem. No
and
problem.
that what you're just saying now reminds me of something that I thought about long ago, long before now. Like if this is the cap, if this phone now is the height of something, and your intention is to grow above it, if all you keep doing is to allow the limit of this phone to stop you, you will never grow beyond it. But if you boycott it
Exactly.
and go like this, then this has to go up in order to be. So if you people just
Exactly.
think that the way to grow is to just stick to what they know. Like how do you add more knowledge when all the knowledge you engage in is the knowledge you already know right from time? You will never add more
Yeah.
knowledge. I remember in my previous job before the current one, a consultant was paid to do something, and we needed an output within maybe a week. We needed output within a week for us to move
Yeah.
on to the next stage of the job. And the consultant said he had a lot of things in his hand. Meanwhile, this guy is going to be paid what he will earn in 4 days is my monthly salary. I'm telling you, what you will earn in
Uh-huh.
4 days is my monthly salary. But I just thought about it. I don't know how to do that thing. I've never done it before in my life, and I didn't say anything. I just went ahead and started reading about what is this big in this thing that this guy is saying he won't do until next
Yeah.
month. Then I started reading, and I mean it was very difficult because sleepless nights, night upon night of sleeplessness, and my wife was not even having my attention at all. So I kept building on that thing. Within 24 hours, do you know that I communicated to my supervisor? I sent a
I said
sample.
you can do it.
Yeah, I sent a sample already. I'd already done a sample, and I said that if I could do one within 24 hours, that means I could finish this whole task within 5 days, as opposed to the 1 month the guy gave. And it's like, okay, I should go ahead and continue working on it. Do you
Yeah.
know that that same thing I did was what our organization used till today? Hey, mama, I see you. So that same thing, that
Yeah.
same thing was a test that I did for the new job that is paying me more than times three of my old job.
Exactly. Exactly. Imagine if you had not learnt it, if you have said, okay,
It's not
and
my it's
there
not
was
my job description. I would
and
have just said it's not my job
and
description.
the easiest way to remain redundant on any job or not to grow in any career is to concern yourself with only what you think is your responsibility.
Exactly.
There was a story I shared some days ago on my Facebook wall, and my former boss, the HR, and then my MD also shared the same. They reshared the story. I was in the engineering firm where I was employed at that time. I was employed, that's back in Port Harcourt. I was
Yeah,
employed
I,
as a
I
chemical
actually
testing
shared it
engineer.
also. I shared it today.
Exactly. And then if I had decided to just stay and just say, my job is just to do this and just stay in my work, I don't want to take in more, I don't want to learn more, I don't want to do anything more. After all, how much are they paying me? I will stay on that job and I will not grow and nobody will see what, and I will not be able to learn.
Mm.
So listen, I don't know who is listening to us out there. If you really would want to grow, learn and see the best investment you can ever make in this life is self-investment.
Mm.
Every other thing you invest in on outside can depreciate. And let me say this again. You can lose every other investment. If you buy a car,
Within
you
the
can lose that car
within a
today.
twinkle
True
of
or
an
false?
eye.
You can lose
Within
that
a
car.
twinkle of an eye.
If you invest on the land, the land can be taken away from you, your
But
building can collapse, your stock can go down.
yes,
But what you know remains with you.
exactly,
You can rebuild with what you know. You
exactly.
lose a car today, what can enable you to buy another car is what you have learned. You did an investment, the stock, went down. What will help you to rebuild in life is what you know. As much as possible, invest in yourself.
Mm.
Self-development, continuous improvement. Keep learning and don't put restrictions on yourself. Nothing, and I keep saying it, the only thing that has never been achieved in life is something that has never been tried. That's the only
Mm.
thing that has never been achieved.
Mm.
It's only impossible because it's not been tried.
Mm.
All of the things that are possible today were once impossible yesterday.
Exactly.
So some of the things you are thinking is impossible today is because you've not tried. If you put in your effort, you realize that it's actually possible, that these things may not be as difficult as they seem.
Mm.
There's an Igbo adage that says that the eyes are very lazy. It's an Igbo adage.
Mm.
Anya diumengu. If you are looking at it with your eyes, when can I finish washing these clothes? When can
Mm.
I do this?
Mm.
But once you start, you realize it's not as
That
difficult
difficult as you
as
imagine.
you are
Awesome.
looking at. Yes. So
Awesome, boss.
you can
I
never
want us to,
underrate the place of service, the place of learning,
exactly.
improving, and all of that. Yes.
I mean, lastly, I want us to end before one. So, what would you say? Because there is probably someone out there listening to us, or who will probably still watch the broadcast of this session, who is just thinking, okay, I've graduated, I studied this course, and I mean, I don't even like it. This no, and he want to get into a new field entirely, and he doesn't even really know how to start, or probably even want to get into the development sector. He just doesn't know exactly. So what would you say to the person that, okay, this is what and what, this is a pathway you need to follow to get into the life you've always desired?
Thank you very much. The first thing I would say is that in life, no matter how long you travel on a wrong route, you cannot get to your destination.
Hmm.
Let me say
Hmm.
that again.
Hmm.
No
That's
matter
true.
how long you travel or how fast you travel
Hmm. On a long.
route, you can never get to your destination.
Hmm.
So, what you must first of all do is know where you want to go to. Know what you want. Be clear in your mind what you want, where you want to be. Be clear in your mind the kind of job you want to do, the kind of sector you want to work in. Once you know what you want in life, then where to get there will become clearer. Once you know what you want, then you begin to research and ask yourself, what do I do to get to where I want to go to? I mean, once you know that, for instance, you want to get to Kefi. For me to get to Kefi, I need a vehicle, or I can go with a bike, or I can go with my personal car, I can go on public transportation. Once you know where you are going to, how to get there becomes easy. So if you want, for instance, you want to come into the development sector, deal on health. There are those who deal on governance and democracy. There are those who deal on security and justice. There are those who deal on environment and climate change. There are those who deal on basically maybe human rights systems and the rest of them. Be clear where you want to go and then begin to research. Google it. Job roles for this, job responsibility for this, skills required for program assistance, skills required for M&E, skills required for advocacy, skill required for wash, skill required for. Once you are able to look at what yourself, you do a these skills. How can I acquire this? And then you can now begin to enroll in some of those courses. There are free courses you can do online. You can go to Coursera, you can go to Udemy. I mean, a lot of that we don't place premium on volunteer jobs or internship. Okay. There are people who write and say, please, I want to learn. Can I come and learn in your organization for free for 1 month, for 2 months, for 3 months, for 6 months, and put it in my CV? And from what I know from experience, for most often than not, once you get in those organizations and then you put in your best, you realize that they will tell you it's an unpaid position. But you at least, for instance, they'll give you your transportation or then something to be able to augment the money that you spend. So please don't be shy of saying, if you don't pay me, I will not do anything. I am not seeing anything worthwhile in life that was achieved without sacrifice. It's all me without sacrifice. I can tell you the number of jobs I've done in the past without asking for anything in return. You know, the kind of insults we've received even in the process of doing that job. People talk down on you, but you just all of us have a responsibilities that they put and the way they craft the issue. You or for let me just for instance, now if you look at the job program for a program officer, I did when I was a youth corps member organizing seminars is what is will do. It's the same job role. But the only thing is that the way they will craft able to find a way that you can now arrange it to the role you are applying for. Okay, you understand that okay, they're talking about M&E, monitoring and evaluation of this. You ask yourself, have I ever done monitoring and evaluation before? In your mind, you pose of monitoring and evaluation that you do every day in your life or in the current job depends on what you do. But the problem is, how are you able to craft this to be able to meet for the role that you are applying? As possible, be clear in your mind what you want, research on it, acquire the necessary skills for it. If necessary, do some volunteer work or look for
Okay. I mean, network kind of affected us at a point, so there were a lot of things that were breaking. But as I've said, we are going to have a recap of this actually, by God's grace. I heard a lot of things about volunteering. I heard a lot of things about. I mean, just intentional to go and look for the opportunities, right? You were intentional to go and look for the opportunities, then
yeah,
send to her, at least to communicate to the ED then that I am interested, I will love to, and I'm not coming to just get, I'm going to be an addition. You know, the same thing I did in my former place of
yeah,
work. Even when I just applied, I went sleepless night, I was browsing several opportunities, United Nations website, USAID.
yeah,
I'll browse, I will be bombarding it to her. So even if I was going to really fail that test, even if I was going to fail that test, she
yeah,
already has it in her mind that I would like this guy to be on this team. This guy is going to be a value addition. But
exactly.
people are just relaxed. Then another thing I've also discovered in life is that, see, wherever you are, once you are getting bigger for that environment, you are based on intelligence, based on knowledge, based on wisdom, based on connection, based on life, we somehow arrange a way
Align in your
to
opinion.
reward you,
Exactly,
bring up something that
exactly,
we align with the current reality of your knowledge. I mean,
exactly,
I've gained a lot, and
exactly, exactly.
I believe that people listening to us would have gotten one or two, even though I know webinar, we are not yet there in Nigeria. You know, our network still has a lot to do to improve. But no
Yeah,
matter what we've done today would, I am so certain that what we've done, this thing we've done today, would help someone to realign his
yeah,
direction, change the perspective someone
yeah.
has about life. So I just want to say thank you so much for taking 1 hour of your time away
Mhm.
from mama.
Thank you, my
I
brother.
really appreciate. I really appreciate. So I look
Thank you
forward
very,
to
very much.
whether it is your place that will do the next one, or mine. So, but we really have to do that.
No problem. We'll definitely do this together. Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Thank you so much,
I
bro.
agree. Good
Enjoy
honor to be here.
yourself.
Thank you very much, and God bless.
Yeah. God bless.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay, guys. So that is it. for today. By God's grace, next time we'll be talking to someone else who has been able to transition from a different career into, I mean, from a different course of study into another career entirely. And I believe that from there you will learn. So I would like to change my video to camera. Okay, so I believe you will learn one or two things through that session. So the flyer for the session will be, I'll be showing the flyer for the session anytime soon. So once the flyer is out, then we'll get prepared. I'll be bringing in another guest. We'll be doing this as often as we can until we achieve, because I see a lot of potentials in people. Okay, I see people having a lot of potentials, but they stay relaxed at a job they don't like, at an environment they are not even feeling fulfilled, just because they feel that what they have is not enough for what is out there. And I just, I mean, I've been privileged enough, but beyond privilege, I kind of aspired and knew that I'm going to be where I am now. And I'm not saying I'm there yet, because there is still a lot, So, but some people are out there, they have the potential to get bigger than where they are. And the problem is that most of those people are denying others who are just coming up to even have access to that small space of also getting opportunity to learn and grow. Because the fact that you stay there when there is something bigger out there that you could jump into, you are also denying someone who is just coming up, who is looking for a small opportunity that you have, and you are holding on to because you feel that you are not enough, you don't have what it takes out there. The essence of our call today is to let you know that you have what it takes, especially if you are ready to pay the price, develop yourself, keep striving, keep moving. And by the time you put all the things you've learned today into practice, I have no doubt that you'll be able to transform your life. So thank you so much for coming out. I hope to see you in our next session. Hopefully next week. It could be upper week. I will let you know as soon as the flyer is out. Thank you, and don't stop following. Please go and subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Krista. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on YouTube. I mean on Facebook, on my Instagram. My Instagram is the underscore Krista. On Facebook, just the facebook.com/Oluwaseun Chris Adebayo, or you search Chris Adebayo, and let's take the conversation further. You can enter my DM in case you have any question, there is a clarification you want on anything we've discussed today, or you even have question for Honest, you can pass it through me and I'll let him know. So thank you. See you again next time.